Welcome to Module 4 of Programming in C. I'm your professor, Professor Fiske, and in this specific micro lecture, we're going to discuss arrays. So what's an array? How does it work? What is it so important about it, and why do we use it? Well, this right here is the best way to explain what an array actually is. An array is a fixed size collection that allows you to store specific data items in the same thing. The same thing. I want to use the word thing here because it's not really, anything other than an object, but it's a generic object unless you give it like a data type of some kind. In the context of C, that's what we have to do, and we have to say how big it is in certain situations. But what is an array really, without getting all geeked out about it? Well, let's remove some of the nerdy stuff and let's talk about it. I want to pause and say if you haven't liked or subscribed to my channel, you're wrong, because I really need your input. The more you like and subscribe to my videos and my channel, the more you let me know what content's relevant to you and how I can help you further get farther in your development experience in whatever language you are trying to learn at this moment in time. Okay, great. So let's get started. Well, what is an array? An array is really a variable or a collection of variables that exist together in one object, right? Let's take that a step further. An array is, for all intents and purposes, a storage location in your random access memory. Now remember we spoke about this in an earlier lecture where we discussed what a random access memory module does and how it works and why it's volatile and all of that. I don't want to get back into that. But what I want to discuss is why do we use arrays? Well, when a variable, not an array, when a variable is stored in your random access memory, your CPU randomly selects where it goes. It doesn't do it in a orderly fashion. And this can have problems with efficiency when the CPU needs to go back and look for it to make sure that it can use the value that is stored in that storage location. In walks an array. An array is a collection of data items or variables or storage locations, however you want to observe that are contiguous in nature to itself. So the 0th position of the array is saved in the random access memory in a random location. And every subsequent position of the array is contiguous to it. So if the 0th position of the array is stored at 0x081812, then the next specific position, so the first position of the array, will be stored right next to it. That makes arrays extremely efficient. As a matter of fact, arrays are one of the most efficient data structures you could ever use. Notice my face. I absolutely hate arrays. And the reason why I do is because there are other data structures that are far more fluid and easier to use. Arrays, for all intents and purposes, are very rigid. Once you create an array of a specific size, that size is immutable. That sound familiar? What is a string? A string is an array of characters, and strings are immutable. See a problem here? If you ever needed to change the array or add a position to the array, you know what you have to do? The same thing you do with a string. You have to create a new array and tell that array you're going to be 1 size bigger or 3 size bigger or how many sizes bigger it needs to be. Sounds like a lot of work. Sounds like something that I just don't want to do. Sounds like something that seems frivolous. But arrays have a lot of positives going for them, which is why they've stuck around for so long and we still use them. I use the word hate, but really I don't hate them. That's a strong word. I strongly dislike them. If I want to declare an array in C, it's as easy as saying what the data type of the array is, the array name, and then the size of the array. And as we've done before, you've seen us, we've done this before already. You can declare the size of the array straight out of the box and say this is an input of 4. You can not tell it how big the array is and then initialize the array with a value, preferred. And then the size of the array is determined by the size of the value being provided to the array. That's another way to do this. And this is the preferred way to complete this. Because in the end, what you really want to do is you want to ensure that the size of the array comports with the size of the value that you're providing to it, rather than trying to guess what the size of the array needs to be before you pass the value into the array. Now, we've already used arrays because we're using strings. Now, we only use character arrays, but there are other situations where you would want to use a integer array. If I wanted to initialize an integer array, I would just say int and then numbers, right? And if I wanted to just give it a number, I would say 5 equals new int, I think. Let me see if I'm doing this right, just for the sake of this conversation. There goes int array, but I want to initialize it. I just don't want to declare it. There it is. So if I initialized it, it would be that way, and then I would give it values. I want to initialize it without values. Well, okay. There's 3 ways to do this. You can initialize it, give it a number, and then give it the values. So in this case, I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Boom. And this is totally fine. As a matter of fact, if I fixed this this loop, I could say, instead of this being I equals 2, there it is. Instead of this being input, I can say numbers, right? Because input is the letter or the word John, but numbers is the array numbers. And if I ran this, this is asking me for that because void print name is not firing. Where is that? Where's this? Where's the input for please enter a number between 1 and 10? That input, where's that? There it is. Determine value event. There it is. I don't want this. What I actually want is D, and this is going to be print names. Print name. Right? Print name. Let's close these other ones because I don't want to see these right now. These are functions that, okay, cool. So now print name, and it doesn't like the D because it's got to be an S? No, D. Why are you upset? Argument type void is incomplete. I guess I don't need to call it like that. I guess I could return. No, you know what? The best thing I can do here is just comment that out. Put this back to determine. Put it back the way it was. Comment this out. So if we want to use that again, we can. And then print name. There. So now if I stop this and I ran it, the print name function will fire, and then it will do all the printing. So now it should do all this printing based on this array being looped through by this guy. Run, please. Nothing's happening. Why? Because it's not a character, it's a digit. There we go. 1, 2, and then it stopped at 2. If we didn't do that, and we said just do the happy path, it will print all 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it didn't. Stop at 5. Go. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is the verbose way to initialize an array. You don't have to do it this way. You can actually just remove this number. That's not necessary because it will determine the length of the array by looking at how many values are assigned in that array itself. Now, to be clear here, 1 is in the 0th position, 2 is in the 1st position, 3 is in the 2nd position, and so on and so forth. Everything in computer science starts with the number 0. If I ran this, I should get 1 through 5 again, and notice I'm not telling it how big it needs to be. Now, if I, for any reason, needed to determine how big this array was, I would do that by saying the following. This array is big, or has a size of. And then I would need to determine what that size is. In certain situations, we use the property length, or len, to get that. But in C, I think size is different from len. So if I wanted to know the size of the array or the length of the array, what I would need to do is say size of, and then in here put the actual array name. Size of will determine what the size of the array actually is. In this case, the length of the array is 5, so that's the size, and it will print that length. Error. Size of is not defined. Why not? Oh, because it's all lowercase. Whoopsies. There. There it is. This array has a size of 20. Wait, what? Why does it have an array size of 20? Well, because 20 is the default value that is added to numbers or the array when you don't define it. If I said 5, it would still say 20. That doesn't seem right, actually. Size of is one way to do it. Then its length also. Oh, because it's an actual calculation. The length of the array is... I mean, I just went to witness protection, didn't I? I have black. All of my screens are black when that happens. Or I have dark mode on for all of my screens, and so when that happens, I look like I'm in witness protection, so my apologies. Numbers is divided by size of numbers at the 0th position. And now I should get the right length, which is 5. Yes. And if I remove that, the right length is 5 again. And I don't have to do this. This is frivolous. Actually, what I could do is I can just do this calculation in the printf function, like so. If I wanted this... Sorry. It is important that PEMDAS not be defined. And I'm defining PEMDAS at the moment. That's still angry. Why? Expected. I gave it to you. You should be fine now. Yeah, this is one of those... Oh. No, I did it. It's right here. I guess I have to do it the other way then. I don't like that, but there you go. Run. So if you want the size of the array, this is the best way to do it. Size of numbers divided by size of numbers at the 0th position. And that's it. You could also do some other arithmetic to get the size of the array based on a pointer. So if you wanted to use a pointer to get the size of the array, it would look something like this. Pointer of numbers plus 1 minus numbers. And this would also give me the size of the array, 5. And basically what it does is it points to the array of elements, it then checks the memory location of the array as a pointer type, and then it subtracts the difference between the start and the end of the array to give you the right number. You can also loop through it to get the number, but that doesn't seem very efficient. These are the two best ways to get the length of the array, to initialize the array, and to loop through the array using the proper data structures of a for loop and the array itself. So I want to stop here. I don't want to keep going. This was all I wanted to talk about. In a future class, I want to talk about multidimensional arrays, which are basically just arrays within arrays. Fun times. But either way, as I said at the beginning of the video, please like and subscribe if you like this content. And as I said in all my videos, good luck, have fun, ciao.